Well, welcome to your daily 180 Bible study. We're beginning a brand new series entitled, What Would Jesus Preach? You probably have heard the initials WWJD. What would Jesus do? That is a great biblical concept that should really help us navigate life. But what about preaching? You say, well, why should I care about preaching, Bill? I'm not a preacher. Well, oftentimes we're very concerned about what the preacher is preaching. So let me ask you this question. If you had the pulpit this Sunday, what would you preach? You know, for some people, they think that their particular hobby, whatever it is, should be preached about 9 out of every 10 sermons. For one person, it would be the abundant grace of God. For another person, it would be perhaps marriage. For someone else, it would be the subject of hell. For someone else, it might be lying or any number of particular issues, baptism, and on and on and on. But how should we view preaching? Well, let me give you a couple of standards that would be very apropos for us. The first one would come from Acts chapter 20 and verse number 27, when Paul is addressing the elders from Ephesus, and he said, I did not shun to declare the whole counsel of God. That needs to be the preacher's attitude, and listeners need to have the attitude as students of God's Word. They want the truth preached to them and the whole truth preached to them. They want the whole counsel of God. Well, today I want us to think a little bit about that. I want us to think about, well, what would Jesus preach? And someone says, well, there's no way to know what Jesus would preach. Yeah, there is. There is a way to know what Jesus would preach. If we look into the pages of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, we have a pretty good idea of what Jesus would preach. And the very first subject comes from Matthew chapter 9. Matthew chapter 9 and verse number 9, we see that Jesus comes across an outsider, a tax collector, someone that all of society looked down on, and Jesus says to him, come, follow me. That's exciting, because do you realize that today Jesus would preach to the outsider, come, follow me. Listen to what Jesus has to say in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28, beginning, come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. We want you to come to Jesus. We want to help you any way we can. Join us again tomorrow for your daily 180.